Nearly 100 soldiers killed in a flare-up in fighting between Armenia and Azerbaijan. Russia's urging both sides to respect the truce agreed 2 years ago. But can Moscow and other regional powers prevent another war? This is Inside Story. Hello and welcome to the programme. I'm Imran Khan. Armenia and Azerbaijan are blaming each other for the latest violence along their border. Dozens of soldiers from both sides were killed on Tuesday. Tension between the former Soviet republics largely stems from a standoff over the contested Nagorno-Karabakh region. It's recognised internationally as part of Azerbaijan, but controlled by ethnic Armenian forces. The latest fighting happened to the west of the disputed area. Now, Armenia has accused its neighbour of sending soldiers across the border and shelling military positions around several cities. But Azerbaijan denies this, saying it was responding to a build-up of landmines and weapons. Russia said it had brokered a ceasefire, but on Wednesday, Armenia accused Azerbaijan of resuming attacks.
Azerbaijan not merely violated ceasefire across border, but it also targeted Armenian positions and also civilian infrastructures inside Armenia. So it's a clear attack on sovereign country. It's a clear attack on UN member state.
Well, Armenia has been shelling Azerbaijani military positions for a few weeks now, which shelling has been intensified over the last few days. And over the same few days, Armenia started amassing heavy weaponry and armament along the deemed border between Armenia and Azerbaijan.
So who's mediating the conflict? Armenia has asked for Russia's help and their foreign ministers have spoken by phone. Russian President Vladimir Putin and his Turkish counterpart Recep Tayyip Erdogan will discuss the matter when they meet in the Uzbek city of Samarkand this week. Turkey's foreign minister says Armenia should halt provocations and take sincere steps towards cooperation and peace. And the European Council President has called for a complete and sustainable ceasefire. Now, as part of the Minsk process, Russia, the US and France have been trying to negotiate a settlement in the region for decades. But the US Secretary of State says he's worried about Russia's role in the conflict.
Whether Russia tries in some fashion to stir the pot to create a distraction from Ukraine is something that we're always concerned about. But if Russia can actually use its own influence for good, which is to, again, calm the waters, end the violence, and urge people to engage in good faith on building peace, that would be a positive thing.
Let's bring in our guests in Baku. Nigar Arpadarai, a member of the Azerbaijani parliament, in Yerevan, Vladimir Vardanyan, a member of the Armenian parliament, and in Berlin, Daria Isachenko, who's a researcher at the Center for Applied Turkey Studies, which is part of the German Institute for International and Security Affairs. Welcome to the programme. Let's begin in Baku first with Nigar. Nigar, the Armenians are accusing you of escalating tensions. Why are you doing that?
Well, thank you very much for having me here today. But first of all, Armenians are not saying the truth. Azerbaijan has chosen a path of peace. Azerbaijan is not interested in increasing military tensions at a time when large-scale construction works are being done in Azerbaijan after liberating of its territories. Now, let me put it this way. You know, there's a very clear path to peace between Azerbaijan and Armenia. It may sound paradoxical, but chance for peace was created after 2020 war, when the trilateral statement was signed. Prior to that, there was a major factor which played against sustainable peace. It was a fact of occupation of Azerbaijani lands by Armenia. As you know, Armenian army was holding a large part of Azerbaijani territory under its occupation for 30 years. They expelled Azerbaijanis from there. They've destroyed everything, livelihoods there, let's say all physical infrastructure, cultural infrastructure. But as long as this occupation sustained, obviously peace was not possible. But the war removed this factor. Armenians were pushed back to their borders. But it has already been 2 years and peace didn't come. You may ask me why it didn't come. Trilateral statement ended hostilities. Armenia and Azerbaijan
I'm just going to disturb you there because I'm just going to disturb you there for 1 second. Let's put your... I don't want to ask you why peace didn't come. Let's ask Vladimir Vardanyan in Yerevan. Obviously, you've told us why. Baku's accused you of lying, Armenia of lying, and saying that you've broken the deal. Have you?
It's very pity that Madame Arpadarai started her speech with the saying that somebody telling not the truth. It's not the first time we are discussing the issue with Madame Arpadarai because we are the members of the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe. And unfortunately, I'm listening to the same old story. Let's start from the very beginning. I would like just to say that we are not speaking about good or bad. We are speaking about respect towards our international obligations. And I would like to state very officially that Armenia is under attack. And we are considering this attack as an international aggression, which is prohibited under Article 2.4 of the UN Charter. I would like just to say that we shouldn't somehow confuse the people who will watch this program, because we are not speaking about Nagorno-Karabakh now. We are speaking about sovereign territory of Armenia. All eastern border of the Republic of Armenia is under attack. And Azerbaijani armed forces proliferated in the territory, in the depth of the territory of the Republic of Armenia. And look just to the wordings we are listening. Armenians were pushed back. Armenians liars. Armenians provoked. This is the very similar to the situation which Nazi Germany used during the Second World War, saying that Polish troops are somehow create a situation of provocation against the Nazi soldiers.
Vladimir, that's a very, very strong statement. Vladimir, just 1 second. That's a very strong statement. Nigar, we will get to you shortly.
Sorry, I would like to end.
Finish your
Majlis of Azerbaijan, and you should listen me.
Please finish your thought.
Listen me.
Finish your thought. What's your response to that, Nigar?
Well, my response to that is that, you have to look, we can say many things, but you and the people that will be watching has to look to the facts. Armenia is not a victim, it's the occupier. It has a long record of aggression and occupying. Azerbaijan has never occupied any land of any territory. And also, right now we have Armenian soldiers, Armenian illegal armed groups are still on the territory of Azerbaijan. What are they doing there? Prime Minister Pashinyan has signed a trilateral statement which clearly said that Armenian illegal armed troops should be removed from the territory of Azerbaijan. We've been waiting for 2 years. What are they doing right now on the territory of Azerbaijan? Is it acceptable for any country, not only Azerbaijan, any country in the world, that foreign soldiers should be on the territory of Azerbaijan? Again, I just want...
Ladies, gentlemen, let's bring in. This isn't helpful if we're all shouting over each other. But I would like to bring in Daria Isachenko here, who is a researcher at the Center for Applied Turkey Studies. Now, Daria, there was a ceasefire agreed 2 years ago. The Minsk group has been trying to formulate a peace plan for Nagorno-Karabakh for decades now. All of that has failed. This latest ceasefire agreement has also failed. Where is the international community in all of this? Has it got any more cards left to play, given what you've just heard?
Well, I see two key issues that are still there since the war in the fall 2020, and this issue is the unresolved status of Karabakh, and the second issue is deblocking of transportation links in the region. And what we've seen the last 2 years, these two issues have been stumbling blocks in the conflict. And to make it even perhaps more complicated, we also see that the position of other actors involved, like Russia and Turkey, has been also different on these issues. I think it was the hope of Turkey and Russia that by deblocking transportation links, there can be it can be a step further, but even this did not work. I also see there is a difference in how to approach the conflict from other parties. For example, I think from the Russian perspective, it has been kind of a step by step. There is the issue of delimitation and demarcation of borders addressed, then again transportation links, and the peace agreement would come actually last.
Now,
for Turkey, it's very much the same position like Azerbaijan, but I think what we've seen from European Union
I'm very sorry. We do not speak. Can you hear
Vladimir,
me? We do not speak about. Sorry, but I should say this. We are not speaking about Nagorno-Karabakh and this status. We do not need to mislead the people who will watch us. We are speaking about proliferation of Azerbaijani troops in the territory, in the very depth of the territory of the Republic of Armenia. Okay, there are a lot of countries whose borders are not delimited or demarked, but it doesn't matter. There are some internationally recognized borders, and Azerbaijan recognized these borders in different documents, in universal, in regional, in bilateral.
This way. Can I add?
Please do not mislead the people who will watch us. And I would like to request our colleagues from Al Jazeera to put the map with the armed attacks to show to the people that we are not discussing now Nagorno-Karabakh. We are discussing now sovereign territory of the Republic of Armenia.
What's your response? It's the sovereign territory of Armenia, Nigar.
Yeah, I have a really good response, which is very obvious now. The peace should be built on mutual guarantees, right? We are speaking about peace. We are saying that we are ready for peace. And first of these guarantees is very simple. When Armenia recognizes territorial integrity of Azerbaijan, Azerbaijan recognizes territorial integrity of Armenia, without any tricky disclaimers, just straightforward, simple statement saying that as Armenia recognizes territorial integrity, internationally recognized borders of Azerbaijan. Are they ready to do that? No, we've been speaking for 2 years about peace deal, but as Armenia is always avoiding that. You know why? Can I finish? Can I finish? I'm trying to finish my thought, please. Right. Can you please mute someone when they're saying? So the statement should be very simple. We recognize each other's internationally recognized territories. We do not support separatists. We do not have territorial claims towards each other. We are ready to do that as Azerbaijan. We've said it many times. Armenia is not ready to do that. They have always disclaimers. If you ask him, he will have, very long explanation why this cannot be done. So let's have mutual guarantees. We are ready to do that. And you know why it's not?
Well, let's actually talk about that, Nigar. Let's actually talk about that. Let's actually talk about these mutual guarantees. Gentlemen, ladies, I will come to you. If you just give me a chance to ask this question to Daria Isachenko. Daria, you were talking there, our guest in Baku was talking there about mutual guarantees of assurance, mutual common ground, effectively. Is there any common ground that Russia, the Americans, and Turkey can bring to the table that will result in a peace treaty?
Well, my assumption was that these transportation links in the region present some kind of common ground. I think but nevertheless, it has also been a contested issue because of how the sides see this differently. But I think starting from this, there can be indeed a common ground because it's in the interest not only of the parties, because I think the question is only how to do it. But when you look at other actors, there is a mutual interest in having economically developed to economically develop the region.
But when we talk about the regional players, Daria, we're talking about Russia, we're talking about America. When those two countries get round the table, it simply doesn't become about Armenia or Azerbaijan anymore. The Ukraine is there, the sanctions are there. There are many other issues that they need to concentrate on. Nagorno-Karabakh, the issue of Armenia and Azerbaijan, simply isn't that high on their list, is it?
This is indeed so. I don't know if it's a problem or not, but we've seen I would still say that this is about Armenia and Azerbaijan, and then it becomes complicated because for some other players, these conflicts also play a role. But it's not by chance that Russia did indeed emerge within this Minsk group as a leading player, because this conflict matters to Russia much more than it does to the United States, to France, or even to the European Union.
Vladimir, your president has spoken to Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin is going to speak to Erdogan in Samarkand. What would you expect them to be talking about at those meetings?
You know, it is possible to talk about each and every issue which is under international law. What we are listening now, we are listening from our colleague Nigar, that since there is no final peace accord, we are allowed to do what we would like to do. No, it's not the truth. Reality is the following: we should respect the principles of international law, and nobody, after the creation of UN Charter, is not allowed to use force or use the threat of force to solve the political issue or somehow undermine the international recognized borders or territorial sovereignty of other states. But we are listening. We are saying that since we have no final peace accords, we are considering ourselves.
Vladimir, that's not actually the question I asked you. The question I asked you was, what do you expect Vladimir Putin and Erdogan to be talking about at this meeting that they're going to have in Samarkand? And I'm going to make it even blunter. I'll make the question even blunter. Do you think Russia is representing your interests?
We do believe that each and every civilized state should represent the interest of the country, which is under attack. Under attack, which is considered as an aggression under international law, which is considered as a crime, not only by customary international law, but also by the Rome Statute of International Criminal Court, as well as it is a crime under the Azerbaijani Criminal Code.
Nigar, what would you expect Erdogan to say to Vladimir Putin? Do you think he's representing your case?
Well, first of all, it's very funny seeing, a country which has occupied another country, aggression, has created aggression, expelled its territory, expelled its ethnically Azerbaijanis from its territory, speaking about aggression and international law, etc. Regarding the talks and the mediators and other actors, I believe that Armenia and Azerbaijan should have bilateral negotiations. We've been calling that for many times. And just some time ago, a few months ago, our leaders have met in Brussels several times, and we've been speaking about peace deal. But the statement was one thing. Armenian Prime Minister was coming back and saying completely different things, In Brussels, when President of the EU Council was chairing the sessions, they were discussing in one area. Then he was coming back saying different things. So what I'm trying to say is that bilateral negotiations should be the key. Of course, we are open for any mediator. We are open. We work closely with all the countries. We are positive about that. But still, we suggest peace deal. We say that we have put our terms on the table, which are nothing beside international law, and Armenia is avoiding that. Why are you avoiding that? Why do you not want to sign peace deal with us? Why are you not recognizing our territorial integrity?
Well, let's start at the beginning, Vladimir. Why aren't you doing bilateral talks?
I have an answer. Dear Nigar, I'm ready to come to negotiation with you.
Very long answer with long explanation why.
Nigar, please allow our guest in Yerevan to finish, please.
Give me a second, I will give you an answer. Let's go to sit around the round table and to negotiate. But agree, it is impossible to negotiate if I come with a gun and you are with the documents. You came with the gun, you are here with the gun, and we are speaking about peace.
Daria in Berlin.
I know Mr. Vardanyan.
Sorry, just one second. Let's bring in Daria here. This idea of bilateral talks. Both of the guests have mentioned it so far. We are very far away from bilateral talks, but can we get there with Russian, American, Turkish intervention?
I honestly don't know, but I do see Russia and Turkey playing a central role just for the mere fact that they are there on the ground. They do have a special relationship. For example, Russia and Armenia, even though they have become strained, also not least due to the Russian stance in the war in 2020, Turkey and Azerbaijan, they also have a special relationship. So I think this matters, but ultimately you cannot, irrespective of who plays mediator, I think it's essential that it's up to both parties to come to a consensus. And I think the key issue here is really security, because the security, as we also have seen in this discussion, this still is the major issue. So I think there could be some kind of peacekeeping force, but I don't know how realistic. But I do see that the consensus between the parties themselves, between Armenia and Azerbaijan and Karabakh, are central here as well.
You're both members of parliament, both in Baku and in Yerevan. Vladimir, you've said that you're willing to have bilateral talks. Nigar, you've said that you're willing to have bilateral talks. Why don't you put pressures on your governments to actually make that happen? Let's begin with Vladimir first. Why don't you put pressure on your government to make those bilateral talks happen?
It's a little bit strange to listen to such a question. We are in negotiations for more than 2 years. We have started the process after the November 9, and we actually announced the era of peace, and we worked towards the establishment of normal, friendly relations between our neighbors. And it's strange that negotiations are continuing all this period, but it's very complicated to negotiate when you are negotiating, and your counterpart said, okay, you do not agree, I wouldn't bring another proposal. I would bring another artillery, another drones. I will try to infiltrate in another part of your territory, but you should to continue to negotiate. We are ready to negotiate. We were ready to negotiate. We would be ready to negotiate, because negotiation is a part of international law. Negotiation is a part of civilized world. But what we have, is it possible to negotiate with a beast who would like to eat you? We are ready to sit and negotiate. We are here. And to start the negotiation, we should, first of all, stop all military activities. Otherwise,
sorry, Vladimir, we are running out of time. We are running out of time, and I want to put your point to Nigar in Baku. Negotiations have been taking place, but there have been accusations by Armenia that they're at the point of a gun, that you are actually using violence during these negotiations. Are you? Is this your tactic?
Well, again, as I said, look at the facts. There are internationally recognized borders of Azerbaijan and Armenia, and there's a long record of Armenia of breaking and violating our territorial integrity. So this is a fact. It's not something that he's saying or I am saying. And Mr. Vardanyan said that stop military activities. This is a very good point. So this is the reason why I am asking why Armenia didn't fully remove its illegal armed force from territories of Azerbaijan. We are also saying that stop military activities, remove your illegal forces from the territory of Azerbaijan. Let's sit at the table and sign a peace deal. We want a region where cooperation will be, where prosperity will be.
Sorry, Nigar, we are running out of time, and I do want to have one final question with Daria in Berlin. Daria, given everything that you've heard, this idea that there can be international mediation within this actual conflict itself, that it seems to be so far from actually happening. Is the international community a problem here? Surely something needs to change. They've been trying the same tactics now for a while.
I do see that this constellation that we have now in the international arena, it complicates it even more, because now we have really this confrontation between Russia and the West. So, I mean, I would still say that the Minsk group has been not very successful in the solve. There you have Russia, France, and US. So it's not only up to the international community to solve this, but given the situation as it is now, it also becomes complicated because there you would have this kind of import of issues, bilateral issues between, say, Russia and US, or Russia, France, or Russia, EU, reflect somewhat having an impact also on the conflict in the South Caucasus.
I want to thank all our guests, Nigar Arpadarai in Yerevan, Vladimir Vardanyan and Daria Isachenko in Berlin. And I want to thank you too for watching as well. You can see the programme again anytime by visiting our website, aljazeera.com. And for further discussion, go to our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/AJ Inside Story. And you can also join the conversation on Twitter. Our handle is @AJ Inside Story. From me, Imran Khan, and the whole team here, bye for now.